Okay, so getting back to it now, we have Carl Allchin, who is the second in command at the data school. And then we also have Jonathon Allenby, who is a current data schooler. Over to you guys.
Thanks, Lorna. Although you've just destroyed our first slide because we were just going to kind of talk about each other. So let's see how that works. But there we go. All right, so while I just bring up my screen, which hopefully you'll all be able to see nicely. If my screen size is playable, then there we go. Right, so as Lorna just said, who we are, let's go into a little bit more detail about that. We thought a fun way to do this would be to actually intro each other. As we've now known each other for all of 1 month, then we feel that we have deep insights into each other's lives. Not at all. So this is Jonathon Allenby. Jonathon has just joined the data school all of 1 month ago. Before that, he had a nice, illustrious university career and then went on to work in IT support services. If you ever get the chance to meet Jonathon, please do. He's a lovely human being, very kind, gentle soul, but he also has one of the most intimidating beards that I've ever come across. It's pretty impressive for a man so young, but the beard is such good growth.
I've seen it about 2 months ago before I shaved off for this place. It was about 3 inches longer.
Okay, that would have scared me off and would have never started prepping data, so that's a good start.
Okay, and I'd also like to introduce my colleague, Carl Allchin, Tableau Ambassador, aka Data Jedi Ninja. You most likely have seen or heard someone before. He's big in the community, both figuratively and literally. Head coach at the data school, as Lorna so kindly took from us. And you may recognize Carl from such talks as Finding My Analytical Voice and Top 10 Tips When Teaching Tableau.
I was trying to get Jonathon to do more of a Troy McClure from The Simpsons impression, but he flatly refused.
I tried, didn't it?
No, it's fair enough. Cool. All right. So let's talk about prepping data. So we first thought that we'd actually take you through the origins of prepping data. And it was such an illustrious conversation that actually we thought we'd share it with you.
Carl, I wish there was a way to practice using Tableau Prep,
said Jonathon. What type of thing were you thinking of?
Said Carl. Something like a weekly challenge, but it doesn't exist,
asked Jonathon whimsically. Let's make our own and see if anybody else wants to join in,
exclaimed Carl.
I'm not sure why we decided to go for Southwest accent. Sorry for anybody in the Southwest of the UK. For everybody else, you probably didn't understand a word of that. Anyway.
So, to give you an idea of what prepping data actually is, every Wednesday we will post a brand spanking new challenge, going over some functionality or some interesting things you could do in Tableau Prep. You will know when this challenge has been posted because we will start screaming about it on social media, sharing it on Twitter and Reddit and any other platform we can get our hands on. Throughout the following week, hints will gradually be dropped by us as well as the community as everyone gets stuck into the challenge. As people start solving it, solutions will get shared and posted on Twitter of either the visualizations produced or the flows or just some of the interesting things or solutions they come up with. This is around the time that me and Carl start realizing there's much better ways to solve the challenges than we initially thought of and debate whether to pretend they were the initial solutions that we came up with ourselves. And then finally, the following Tuesday, we will post a write-up of the solution to our blog, preppindata.blogspot.com, where we'll go over what we hope to achieve with this challenge and some of the interesting things you could have taken away from it.
So where we really went with prepping data was we took the ideas from the likes of Makeover Monday and Workout Wednesday and the other regular challenges that are actually kicking around out there. And we really wanted to kind of do that just for prep. I suppose ultimately the question is, well, what's the point of having a data prep challenge? So why are we going to use Prep Builder to do something like this? Well, we kind of broke it down into 3 areas when we started to sit down and think about it. Yes, we've kind of got this nice structure, but why this tool? Well, first of all, what we both loved about Tableau Prep was really it was just so fast to develop on. You could just go and connect to data and just go really quickly, really instantly. It allows you to be iterative. Personally, I love the changes pane in Tableau Prep. I'm using it. The changes pane, for anybody who hasn't seen it, is it almost acts like an audit trail to show you what you've actually done. And that becomes super useful, not just for you, but also other people who might pick up your work. More on that in a bit. Tableau Prep's also easy to use. It's this drag and drop nature that we've learned with Tableau and a few other tools that we love out there, mentioning no names for this morning. But really it's that drag and drop nature that just allows anybody to play. It's got a great interface. And really that interface is so similar to what we go and find within Tableau Desktop and Tableau Server and the other tools that Tableau designs. They take so much care and attention on this. And actually really that's reflected within Prep. So because it's an easy to use tool, it makes life a little bit easier for people just to kind of pick something up. So that's why Jonathon and I thought it would kind of be this fun challenge, not just for Jonathon to practice, but also for other people to get involved, maybe with data prep for the first time. And actually that's a really interesting piece, that ETL, extract, transform and load, or data prep as it's also known, is actually pretty much a new skill for many, many Tableau desktop users. It's been quite fun teaching, not just at the data school, but public sessions on Tableau Prep, because really ETL is something that somebody would just push traditionally to their IT teams or their data teams to actually let them go and do it for them. I might have a question, but I've got to go and wait for other people to kind of come up with those solutions for me. So what we really liked about the tool was actually it was this kind of new enabler, just in the same way that Tableau Desktop was all of those years ago when we started using it. It also then helps further down the line. Maybe I'm prototyping something in Tableau Prep, but actually what that's doing is it's allowing me as a user to actually help those IT teams, who may still help me with this, to actually write those better requirements. It's also a way of capturing really strong documentation. How many times have we written those horrible long Word documents that are 20, 30 pages long that we then have to hand over? We know they're not going to get written, but it's the only way to converse with a future user what we've actually done to do it. But also it's not just a new skill for people who are just brand new to data prep. I know there's quite a lot of people out there who have been doing data prep for a while, whether very manually or in other tools. There's a chance to get hands-on with some of those new features that are coming out in prep. The monthly release schedule is quite fun for Jonathon and I because it gives us new toys to play with when we're coming up with the challenges. But really, we really want Prepping Data to be this chance for you to go and play with some of those new features really early on, because hopefully you'll have downloaded the new functionality and the new versions of the tool.
So in terms of what we actually want to achieve with Preppin Data, there's probably kind of three main areas. The first is community development. So right now, there doesn't seem to be a huge community built around prep or a lot of conversation around Preppin Data in general, not necessarily a blog. I think a big reason for that is the product is still in its kind of infancy stages, so it's not quite as clean, it's not as well established as desktop. But as we just described, it's a really big enabler to actually doing what you want with your data. It's easier to prep in Tableau Prep in many cases than it is in desktop. And if we can build a community around this product, then we can share, we can start sharing knowledge a lot better, which is how a lot of people learn how to build visits properly. I think the second main thing is product development. So when Tableau Prep was released, there was a lot of requests for kind of features and functionality, and this has kind of grown quiet since then. So in order to help Tableau develop what we actually need and what we want, we need to let them know. So if we start doing this challenge and people get more involved and figure out what they actually want by using the product, then we can let Tableau know what we want, and therefore we can get what we want, which is a really key thing.
Not that we're that selfish and egotistical, but
no.
We want more.
Things. And finally, the third key thing is to share best practice. So if you were to ask what does ETL best practice look like, well, the answer is currently it doesn't look like anything. It hasn't been established. We're not trying to invent ETL, but I think ETL is best formed through the crowd. So by all getting together and working on similar challenges and similar problems, we can figure out the best way of the best practice for developing those kind of solutions. So this is in terms of things like documentation and how you annotate your flows and how you should, for example, view data between steps and things like that. So if we get together as a community and share all those for similar tasks, we can figure out, oh, this works really well, this works better than that, and gradually build that ETL best practice.
Because for years, we've always had exactly the same challenge with desktop. When desktop first came out, there were the formal IT ways to capture this stuff, but it wasn't something that worked for the person on the office floor or just in your kind of, as you're working with other people from afar. So really, we want the community to help to decide this. And we're already seeing with the way that people are using clean steps individually for each individual requirement or each kind of key part that they're going through in the workflow, rather than trying to squeeze everything into one tool, because surely that's more efficient if you push everything into one tool. So already we're driving those conversations, and that's just coming out of prepping data, which was kind of an unintended consequence for us, but it's something that we're really enjoying. So how many people have been involved so far? Well, we've had 60 different participants as of this morning, well, as of about 15 minutes ago when I refreshed this view. This is available on Tableau Public. It's on my profile if anybody wants to dive in and see where the latest stats are up to. Thank you, Tableau Public, for enabling Google Sheets to automatically refresh this view. Makes my life a lot easier. And we've had 130 different submissions so far, and you can kind of see how they're broken up down at the bottom of the bar charts. We're finding that more and more people are going back and doing week 1, etc. as they're picking up the other challenges too. We're intending to try and break the challenges down over time. So we'll have specific questions, specific types of challenges that will kind of go and stretch people in different ways, mostly to give people the different experiences around what's happening, but also just to kind of really allow people to go and play and just go and see different things that they might do than what they would see in their everyday work. So if you can help us spread the word, we feel like we've kind of got the ball rolling nicely, but it's down to you, the Tableau community and the wider data community, to help us roll this out a little bit further. And also we want to hear from you, but more on that shortly. So what's next within prepping data? Well, it kind of depends on whatever the elves in Seattle create for us. So the devs in Seattle are doing a fundamentally amazing job with Tableau Prep. They have created a monthly release that is really kind of testing us as teachers, as trainers, as coaches, as analysts and consultants, to be able to go and really get on the front foot with prep and kind of stay ahead. I originally found prep kind of quite fun because it was just so much coming out, but then the day job takes over a little bit every now and then. And all of a sudden you kind of realize that you've missed a new feature that would actually go and save you a whole load of time. Whatever those future releases are, and I believe the monthly cadence is still going to keep going for a little while longer, then that's really what we're facing. We're going to kind of face that challenge of we've got to go and see what they do. As soon as those new releases and those new features come into Tableau Prep, we want to kind of get that involved in prepping data. So apologies if you don't always have the latest version, and Donna Coles flagged us up brilliantly in, I think it was week 2 or week 3, where we needed to kind of get some of the newer, or use the newest functionality. We'll try and say which version you need to do. We want that range of problems to happen too. That's really what's on the horizon. We know this is a new skill and experience for lots of people. So we want people to play with different industries' data, different concepts and ideas. And that's really where Jonathon and I are lucky as Tableau consultants to be able to go and see loads of different industries, pull together their challenges, and then try and play them back to you guys. Normally with terribly anonymized data by me at a weekend. But also we want to see your challenges. We're not going to see absolutely everything and what everybody's use case is. I'm not that omnipotent, and neither is Jonathon or his beard. But ultimately, we want you to submit the challenges too. So please let Jonathon and I know. Just drop us either an email or tweet to us, or however you want to get in contact with us. Carrier pigeons are also fine, although our windows in the office don't open. So we need to work that one out, how they'll get delivered. I'm kind of seeing like a Harry Potter owl issue into Windows could be a bit dodgy. But yes, we want to hear your challenges too.
And I would say that the filthier the challenge, the better. We want you to try and abuse the rest of the community. However, if it is so difficult that we can't do it ourselves, then probably not going to get shared unless you provide a full solution that we can pretend is ours.
Cool. So yes, make it hard, make it a fun challenge. Some people really enjoy that, but it's also really fun seeing what's difficult for some people isn't for others as well. So that's, again, where we want to kind of get this dialogue going and get people to get a whole load more experience around this. And also, what's else on the horizon? Who knows? We're 4 weeks into this thing. It's very early on, and thank you to the Fringe Festival for letting us come and talk about it to help promote it a little bit more. We want to get your feedback. So you don't have to just submit a challenge. We want to know what you're finding great about prepping data, but also what you're finding tough about prepping data too. What would you like a little bit more of? What would you like a little bit less of? So all of those bits of feedback, please let us know.
So, to get involved with the Preppin Data Initiative, you can start by going to our blog, preppindata.blogspot.com, where we post all our challenges and where we do all our solution write-ups as well. You can read the welcome post, which gives you a little bit more background into Preppin Data and the kind of specifics of getting involved. You can also read various other posts that we're starting to add there, such as an introduction to Tableau Prep if you're brand new to the product. And then just pick a weekly challenge to get started on. So you don't need to go all the way back to week 1 and work your way through to whatever the newest week is. You don't need to start on whatever you think is the newest thing. Just pick a challenge that seems interesting or a good place to start and give it a go. I mean, I don't think with any of the other kind of existing Tableau desktop challenges, they would expect you to go back to week 1 and work your way through the 20,000 weeks that have been since they started. So just pick a challenge and give it a go. And then finally, the other key thing is to let us know how you get on. So we have a Google form you can fill out. We showed the visualization that's connected to it, which tracks participants. Also, reach out to us on Twitter. You can find us both there. Our Twitter handles are at the start, but we will repeat this at the end, shall we?
Yeah, we can go back to that slide.
Yeah.
I'll jump back in a bit. And
we're also starting to spread out into other platforms. So I'm sharing these challenges on Reddit now. So if you're a Reddit user, you can also find those on our Tableau subreddit. But yeah, it's really important to let us know how you're getting on, because it makes us, A, feel good about ourselves, and B, let us know that we're doing something that matters. If we know that people are getting involved, we're only going to put more and more effort into designing and developing the Preppin Data Initiative for you guys.
Cool. All right, so that was pretty much all of our formal content. As Jonathan asked for our Twitter handles, I will jump back to the start, and there's our details to go and get in contact with us. If you're not a Twitter user, then most people know how to get in contact with me these days from around the community. So let's go and jump on to some of those questions that we have within the Q&A post. I'm going to jump to the second one first, because it's the more interesting question, the more challenging question to answer. Of Sadiq has kind of got in contact and said that he hasn't used Tableau Prep yet. He wants to know how it compares to other data prep tools that are out there at the moment. And that's a great question. And my first answer to this is exactly the same way that I'd answer this for Tableau Desktop. You're only really going to find out what it's like by actually going and using the tool yourself. So just download it and try it. Have a play, see how you find it. Ultimately, it depends on your background. I mentioned Jonathon has a mad set of computer science skills from his degree. I was a history and politics student, so I didn't. And that's where everything kind of comes from very different directions and different angles. So with my history and politics degree, strangely, writing essays doesn't really help too much with data prep, I think it's fair to say. So really what we want to try and do is use a tool that really enables both sides to play, the people who do have the coding skills and the people who don't. And that's really what we're trying to do, and why we use Tableau Prep, because it definitely does play on both of those sides. As to whether it does exactly the job that you want, it's still, as Jonathan mentioned, it's still quite a new tool. The devs are forming lots of functionality very quickly, but actually it's pretty well rounded already. It's certainly helping a lot of people in a lot of businesses that I'm seeing, and it definitely offers some different skills around pronunciation grouping, etc., than what I'm seeing from other tools and when I use other tools. So that's just quite good fun, just kind of seeing what's out there. So I would say, yeah, go and get hands-on. That will definitely help you out a little bit more, Steve.
Now's especially a good time because, as Carl mentioned, they're adding more functionality month after month. So if you get involved now, then you can get up to speed with all the current functionality, and then it's really easy to then add in extra little bits. So the row to column was such a great addition. So you're kind of on the forefront of additions like that, which is really good.
Cool. And the other questions around feedback. So unlike Makeover Monday, we don't really offer feedback because it's pretty hard for us to do that with data prep. There's nowhere really for us to communicatively share our Tableau Prep flows. There's nowhere for us to kind of work as a community and look at a visual output. We're trying to stay away from actually making a Viz part of this compulsory as well, because actually at the end of the day, there's lots of Viz challenges out there. So if we do a visualization, we'll make it nice and easy. It's not really about the Viz. It's more about the data. We post the actual, not just the output flows, but we post the full solutions at the end of the week. So on that Tuesday. So if you're looking for feedback, go and compare as to how we've done it. Jonathon does an amazing job summarizing all of the different techniques that people have used out there. So if your technique's not in there, maybe it's because you've taken the wrong angle, or maybe it's just because we didn't see the post. We've had loads of great communication around this already. So sadly, we can't offer individual feedback, but it doesn't stop you asking for questions as you go through on Twitter, and let's go and answer those as a community.
Yeah. That said, we do try and keep up to speed with all the responses on Twitter. Often that's similar. Often that'll be just a like to let you know that we have seen it, and we acknowledge that you're doing a good job. However, we do see you post an interesting flow or something that looks a bit different. We might get in touch and say, hey, how did you achieve this? Is this something that we can build in, or is it could this be future best practice or things like that?
Cool. And then one final question before we stop is Tableau Prep similar to Alteryx? My favorite question as both a Tableau partner and an Alteryx partner is exactly this one. Tableau Prep is designed to be the data prep tool for Tableau. Alteryx is very much data prep, but it's also spatial and predictive analytics. They are very, very, very different tools at the moment. And for long times, I intend them that they will remain exactly the same. Tableau has a slightly different ethos in terms of how they build their tools to Alteryx. So fundamentally, I always expect those tools to stay differently. Depending on the challenge you've got in front of you, depends on actually how you're going to pick which tool to go and approach with. If you ever need help with that, there is lots of great people out in the community who will chat to that, and absolutely I will do as well. But for now, I'm conscious that we're hitting the end of our time. So thank you very much for everybody who dialed in and listened to our ramblings. Please get involved in Prepping Data. So preppingdata.blogspot.com. Come and join in. Let's all learn prep together, and actually let's go and help the devs in Seattle know what we need to how to make our own lives easier. So thanks for listening in. And any other questions, please reach out to us on Twitter or drop TFF, the Fringe Festival, the questions, and they'll pass them on to us.
Allchin.
And Jonathon Allenby. I didn't know you were going to do that. Well played, sir. Speak to you all soon. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Carl and Jonathon. That was great. If anyone does have any more questions, then feel free to reach out. I'd like to give a virtual round of applause to both speakers so far. So if everyone could just clap at the screens. I know there's at least one person doing it. Next up, we have Matthew Miller in 7 minutes. So we'll join back up in 7 minutes.